thought for the day. My heart has gone out to this little mental case more than it has gone out to anything else or anybody else recently. Now, this is not my state of mind right now because I've actually thought about it, but I'm looking back on the last week and analysing my feelings, and my heart has gone out for this little ostracised thing more than it has gone out for starving children and repressed peoples and Kanye West and anyone else. Oh look, she's not ostracised just for a second. Those other 3 chickens ostracise poor Salt, and she spends most of her days fretting. Now, that's interesting to me that I should have feelings for a chicken over, for example, a starving child. And obviously we know why that is, because the chicken is near me, whereas the starving child is not near me. But to be a truly compassionate, g'day little nut job, how you going? To be a truly sensitive thing, you should be, you should have compassion. This thing, she's got food, she's got a wonderful environment to live in. We've thrown thousands of dollars at these 4 chickens. We really have. If I showed you around the yard, they've got all this. They've got all that, and we have thrown not a cent towards poor children in other countries and all that sort of stuff, or anyone else in need. Should I be having a crisis of how much I care and what I care about? Look, possibly. I'm not here on a learning journey in this life. I will die in an unlearned state, in an uneducated state. There is no doubt about that. But I find it interesting. I can see that if I was someone whose eyes could roll back in his head and be truly sensitive, that I would be more empathetic towards that child over in another country who's dying of starvation right now, and would have sent $3,000 the way of that child, for example, before I would have, along with my wife, thrown $3,000 at this chicken. What else can we say about that? Look, I often think about the people of Avaricum, because that starving child is separated from me by distance. So that starving child is less relevant to me than this chicken. Now, the people of Avaricum, that's a city that I always think about. I sometimes close my eyes and imagine what that felt like, getting attacked by Julius Caesar back there in Gaul. And I often think, wow, spare a thought for those guys. That was terrible, He slaughtered them all, except the boss, Vercingetorix, who he took back to Rome and eventually threw down the hole. Right, now, now that's an interesting thought. Now, the truly compassionate person should spare a thought for those guys too, and there should be no statues of Julius Caesar in the world, for example. And you might say, well, that person's separated from us by distance, by distance and time. That starving child is separated from us by just distance. That child is in your time. You could have sent that $3,000 to that child, but there's no way you're going to send the $3,000 to those, the people of Avaricom, and even if you could, they weren't likely to be able to spend it on an AK-47 or anything like that, and manage to sort of fight off Julius Caesar. And I say, good point. It's an excellent point, actually. Having said that, you still should, the truly compassionate person I'm talking about, the truly sensitive person, the truly Zen person, the Buddha. His heart should technically still go out to people in a different time, and also to people in the future. And this is when you would probably either disappear up your own ass, or achieve Buddhahood. I don't know what the difference is, but the point is, the truly empathetic person, his heart reaches out to all living things, I'm sure. Actually, little salt there, we turned a brick over yesterday, my wife and I. We actually do this just outside my shed. I'll go to my shed now. We turn a brick over, and there's always worms down there, and we let salt go for it. So you quickly turn these bricks over, and pardon the broken pegs, and there's always some worms down there, and we let salt go for it, and it's brutal. Like, you think about the poor worm, because there's the worm just wriggling away, and salt, that little mental case over there, is an efficient killing machine. It's unbelievable. Bang, bang, dead worm. My heart doesn't break, strangely. It's a funny thing, should it? Maybe if I evolve a little bit more, because, look, I don't know how much they feel, all that sort of thing. Look, I often think about my grandmother-in-law, my wife's grandmother. Yeah. Back in Greece, she could snap a chicken's neck in an instant while carrying out a conversation before she came to Australia. Crack, boom, in the pot, Feathers, rip the feathers off, bang, 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 it'd be a flurry of feathers, I'm sure. She'd have that thing defeathered, or whatever they call it, and gutted and all that sort of stuff, boom, boom, boom. Meanwhile, gossiping about stuff around the village. That was before she came to Australia, when she lived in the hills of Sparta. She came to Australia, and after a little while, she couldn't kill a chicken anymore. Now that's fascinating.